Yeah, let's talk
And
about that because that's you. When you hear about Navy SEALs, you don't hear about a lot of black officers that are Navy SEALs.
well, we got them now. Well, I'm
Yeah.
printing them mugs, man. We got them. They coming. We got a whole. There's 12 of them right now in the SEAL teams, which is
So
incredible.
so I met Remy a couple of months ago.
Yep.
Yeah, he has a book out, and I read his book, and I'm gonna have him come back onto the show because we talked about earlier last year. We were talking about community policing and how important.
Yep.
I think that's when I first reached out to you. But it's like how
Remy's
many?
story crazy, man.
Yeah, his story is
Remy went from the White House to the outhouse, and then it's like, damn, like you read Remy's story, you like, but you
yeah.
know what? Like a lot, like that's what I tell people. Like a lot of the SEALs don't come out of like crystal palaces, man. A lot of us
No,
come out of the dungeons, man. And the reason we able to do so well in the SEAL teams is because we grew up in that dungeon. Like
you
we
had
used to that
adversity.
grind.
You had adversity at a
Yeah.
young age, and so you put additional adversity. But you said fifth.
Yeah, so I'm the fifth black officer from SEAL training, roughly. I don't know. I got the list right now. I'm number 5 on the list. There's four in front of me, 5 depending on how you count. I thought I was 8 for the longest,
Wow.
but about 2 years ago, I put the list together, and that ain't the case, man. So,
Out of how many
like
total? How many out of how many? A total of
officers,
yeah. Period.
shoot, there's 600 officers in the SEAL teams at any one time. When I was in the Navy, there was 2 of us. So like I tell people, but now 2021 there's 12 African American officers, a handful of Hispanic dudes, so it's getting better. I'm doing my part. I'm making sure that none of the young African Americans or young minorities, for that part, really just young people, have the experiences that I had in the SEAL teams, because I didn't handle them very well.
Right.
I smashed a lot of faces in the SEAL teams, man.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them dudes you just gonna walk up on and talk down to and expect
Yeah,
me
you
to.
just some people
Yeah,
like we were talking. We'll get into leadership because that goes a part of leadership too, and we're going to get in that because sometimes I tell people that I wasn't a good leader growing up. I had to learn to fail a lot in order for me to be a good leader.
and
Um,
see, I'll tell you this: I was a phenomenal leader.
right.
I just didn't understand what leadership was.
Yes. Because
So it was
let's just
easy
talk.
for
So
me.
what do you feel makes a good leader?
It's funny. I just talked the other day, man. You got to care for your people, man. That's the
Right.
number one thing, right? Like people
Priority number
above
one.
self.
Priority
Priority
number
number
one.
one. People above self.
Love
Priority
it.
number 2, you gotta be a competitive SOB, man. You got to be willing to rip the face off of another person, man, because your people are going to take on your persona. And
Right.
I'm always the underdog, right?
Yeah.
So, like I tell people, you give me any organization, we're going to be first before you know it. And
Yeah.
then you can't figure out why you're not ever going to be able to catch us.
I think like for me, as my friends tell me, I'm always like to fight, but I'll make peace when I have to. But
Yeah, I try not ever to make peace. I much rather smash faces, man. It's hard. Like, but see, in leadership, like a lot of people, I've had a bunch of leadership jobs, right? Like the ship was the best one ever, because I had a bunch of guys and females that didn't want to be there. And
that's
so
so crazy.
like,
That's yeah, okay.
yeah, and I learned that like I can be the leader, but I'm not the guy making the wheels on the bus go around. So I can have all the motivation in the world, I can have all the drive, but the only thing that matters for me in my position is who I put in charge and who I empower under me to be the leaders. And so I tell the story, man, like my division, I first got to those 3 months, we were rocky, man. Okay, we had some PQS problems, preventative maintenance, and just, it wasn't running the way I wanted. And I was working 18 hours a day to get my qualification so I could transfer out of the ship in the SEALs. So I was kind of dual-headed, but I was doing a lot of yelling. One of my dudes yelled at me. I challenged him to a fight. And then I went to the chief's mess, like I said, man, what am I doing wrong? They said, listen, man, we love you. You're doing an awesome job, but your guys they're not as motivated as you are. You can't,
Right.
ask people for a favor. This is why I learned this. Never give an order, right?
Can
Hey
you help
man,
me?
I order you to go down there and clean the brow. Hey man, can you do me a favor and just go sweep up down there at the bottom of the brow? Sure, sir, I'll go do that. Hey man, appreciate it. Thank you. Say please and thank you, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you in some combat and you got to give a direct order to somebody, hey, I need you to run to that, you know, like if it's life or death, but if it's normal garrison work, hey man, can you do me a favor? Hey man, thank you. Right?
It's
And
that
so
that compassion, that humility.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then the other thing was like you got to know what great leaders look like, because a lot of times I tell people the best leaders in your organization make everybody uncomfortable, man. Like on my ship, I had this BM1, he got fired from the submarine community for writing bad checks. Dude was a rock star, man. He was building decks on the weekends. He worked 14 hours a day on the weekends to pay child support. And he made maybe $2,000 Saturday and Sunday building these huge decks for people. But he would come and work on Monday and be super. And so I gave him the division, man. We won division in the spotlight like 6 quarters. A year and a half straight, we won it. And then the captain took me out of that division and put me in this all-female division. And I did something real unique at the very beginning. They had to paint the house. Normally took them 2 months. I told them they could go home when they finished. Boom. Next thing I know, they were done on Wednesday. Took them 3 days to paint the house, a job it normally took them two months to do. And I sent them home for 5 days. Never looked back, man. We won division in the spotlight 2 quarters there. And then I went to SEAL training. But like, I just learned, man. So you got to be super competitive, you know, as a leader. And then I tell everybody, like, you got to have emotional intelligence, man. You got to know how to talk and sit down with everybody. You can't be one of them dudes that's, he unable to relate to the rich white kids, or he's unable to relate to the poor black kids, or, you know, shoot, I deal with a lot of rich black kids. Right. Sometimes they got the same exact problems as the rich white kids, right? I don't want to do no work. What do you mean I got to work? Okay, well, you're not going to be successful at the Naval Academy because you ain't smart enough just to kill it like you did in high school. So, you know, and that's the whole thing about emotional intelligence.
Yeah, see, that and that's the book. I can't think of the book. It's a book that came out. They talk about emotional intelligence, and you just have to be willing to understand people and be a people person as well. So
yeah, and I love people, right? Like Kanye, I love people. Like if I could just go meet 10 new people a day, 20 new people a day, I'd be excited, right? Like I love meeting new people. You know, it's just part of it, man. But those 3 things to me, you know, there's a lot of people out there that say you got to carry yourself the right way. Like the Naval Academy was big on pomp and circumstance, always be in a collared shirt, always have a belt and boat shoes on. And I'm like, man, shut up. I look at your clown. Like I was on the ship. I was like the clowns on the ship. Excuse me, can you tell me where the officer's mess is? And everybody looking at them, laughing at them, right?
Squares.
Like squares. Like you leading
squares, man.
Leading a dude that slept in a car for 3 years.
Yeah, man.
Like you can't
just keep it. Just get down on people's level, man, and help them and be relatable. You know, that's a lot of time people they fail to be relatable because of title.
Oh yeah, I don't even want to get started on that one. You know, like everybody in coaching, everybody is like appalled that I let guys call me by my first name. I said, listen, in the SEAL teams, everybody on first name basis. Ain't no, I call the CO, but I might call him CO, but if I call him Jim, ain't nobody gonna check me up. Yeah. I'm not gonna be disrespectful in using that Jim. Right. But you know, like in the COXO, they don't got called COXO. But shoot, everybody else, the ops officer, hey Bill, what's up? You know, command master chief, everybody else. And so in football, everybody's like, they got to call you coach or Jay or Zweig. I said, listen, man, I know by the tone of their voice if they're being disrespectful. Right. Calling somebody by their first name is not disrespectful. Mm-hmm. But see, that's a different culture, right?
Yeah, you got to be, that's the relationship you have with your players.